What up, y'all? Yeah, man. It's kind of late or whatever because I actually was working on trying to do something else, but I figured let me go ahead and attack this. Now I kind of everybody's really off onto the culture things and I guess the celebrity popular celebrity stuff whatever, but. And I said I kind of was gonna ease back off of that type of shit because it's not really a lot of times it's nothing that's really necessarily constructive or beneficial to black people as a whole per se. But as you see in the title, I just really and I'm not even gonna call myself hypocritical because I did I had I'm not. This is not my first time knowing finding out that Fat Joe uses the N word. Um, I've listened to Fat Joe for years, and probably if in the grand context of what happened, well, I guess I could say allegedly happened because I'm not really too big of a fan of that versus shit because I'm just not a fan. It's not nothing that that I really was focused on when it first started off. I started out when the pandemic started. I mean, I will admit, out of the many that have occurred, have been on, I've only seen from the beginning to the end. I only seen Jill Scott and Erica Badu, and I seen most of the Gucci Man and Jeezy because I rock with Erica Badu, I rock with Jill Scott, and I rock with Jeezy, and I rock with Gucci for the most for whatever for what it's worth. But yeah, to get back to the point, there was the versus Fat Joe versus Ja Rule, and from my understanding, and I probably wouldn't have get. Well, I guess I kind of could have guessed it, but I didn't. People might have bias against old Ja Rule since evidently the situation with 50 and people get their own little biased opinions or whatever as opposed to focusing on the quality of the music. But I kind of didn't expect people to be saying Ja Rule won. But nevertheless, the current thing that's being spoken about now is how, and it's really been a deflection on what I had a problem with. They're focusing on Fat Joe's uses of the word nigga. At this point, I imagine I'm 2 minutes in. I'm going to speak freely. So I'm gonna go to this article that they have on here. I got a couple of articles. We'll go to the one article where it says that he apologized for what he done. And that I guess that'll give me a context that I can read back to you all. Of course, if you haven't heard about it already, I can give you all who hasn't necessarily read about it or heard about it a context of what um, I'm talking about and what the issue is. So give me just a moment here. Take a look. Where did I put that tab? Fat Joe apologizes for his disrespectful comments about Vita and Little Mo. Okay, so historic versus battle. Two veteran rappers, bald heads, playing guest stars, including two aforementioned artists, Ashanti, Jadakiss, Remy Ma, and Nelly. Joe jumped in his Twitter account and apologized to Vita and Little Mo for disparaging remarks he made about the two women during the battle. Shout out to the ladies. Very sorry if I disrespected. I love Vita and Little Mo. I'm super sorry. I love my sister, she tweeted. Sorry, very sorry if I disrespected. Very sorry if I disrespected. Now, a lot of people probably just say they read this as an apology, but I read it as, a placation. something that was a statement that was issued in order to try to hush people up, a dismissal type of statement. Because it's not if you disrespect. Lil Mo came out and said directly that she felt disrespected by what you said. Matter of fact, I do believe I have that in the tab open as well. So let me pull that up. Okay, so Little Mo comes, and I guess everything occurs on social media now. So this is a post that Little Mo made. I need Little Mo says as follows, and I quote: "I need everyone to tell Fat Joe he owes a genuine apology. I don't live in a crack house. I'm not a bitch, nor am I Dusty. Hashtag street code. Women and children is off limits. Hashtag disappointed. 3 broken heart emojis. Hashtag legend goat. Blah, blah, blah." Now, in this type of situation, you would expect um, Obese Joseph, uh, Joey, to go back and address Lil Mo directly. And I mean, and these pretty much got numbers for each other, so I really didn't understand what's with all this tweet shit and all this stuff anyway. But Fat Joe wasn't the one that responded. Well, I guess he had met. At least not on the thread I'm reading here. Fat Joe wasn't the one that responded. It was Remy Ma, um, of Fat Joe's Terror Squad. You know, uh, Remy Ma, I guess, is pretty much about the only one, and then the late Big Pun. Those are, I guess, the other cats. Some of the other cats who I don't really remember the names off the top of my head. I guess they can rap too, but whatever. Now, if you recall, while Remy Ma was locked up, her now husband Papoose allegedly had a dispute with Fat Joe, and I don't recall whether they got physical or something, whatever. But I know they from outside appearances, it looked as if Fat Joe had sunned Papoose. Just on some, I'm this guy and you this guy. I'm the big guy and you the little guy, whatever. So a lot of the time, if I remember correctly, little Remy Ma had an issue with Joe while she was in jail. So little Remy Ma gets released, and I to quote Charles White's uncle, "A drowning man reached for a straw." I mean, it's not necessarily his uncle, but this is old. This is a statement from the old folks, the ancestors. Um, a drowning man reached for a broom straw. So I guess when she got released, she had to she was in desperation to get her shit back popping again. It wasn't like, the songs that she had. A lean back wasn't, whatever money she was making from lean back. I'm sure that was paltry in comparison to what she needed once she was released. So it eventually came out. They reconciled, and and whatever. But this is just a little background. I want to say. I just want to point out before I read what Remy said in response to Lil Mo. Okay, now Remy Ma responds, "Lil Mo, stop it, Mo. You know damn well Joe ain't on it like that. First of all, you, V, Shanti, or nobody had even come out yet when him and Ja was going back and forth. We didn't know who was in the back. Second, I was in the car when you walked through the parking lot and he hugged you and showed mad love as usual. No need for your followers to tell him anything. As someone that personally knows you, I'm sorry you were offended. There another one of them bullshit ass apologies. I'm sorry you were offended. Don't tell me, don't apologize. If you talking to me, don't apologize to me about my motherfucking reaction of my feelings. You either gonna tell me I'm sorry or whatever, or get the motherfucker I got an issue with to tell me that they sorry. But let me continue. You can call my phone. Why would she want to call your phone, Remy? Her issue was with Fat Joe. You can call my phone. Matter of fact, I'm going to DM you my number in case you don't have it anymore. She never requested any reason to want your number, Remy. I really don't. I really don't understand. I really don't get why she would even call you. But I'm going to DM my number in case you don't have it anymore. But also, as someone that personally knows Joe, he was not intentionally trying to hurt anyone. It was a battle between friends that are like family. Sidebar, street code, hashtag street code, don't do social media. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say I agree or disagree, but the point could be made that sometimes we wish that certain black, I'll give black women. I want black female Remy. That certain black women um, will fight hard for a non-black man. Fight harder for a non-black man than they would for a black woman, and I guess vice versa could be said for in the case of black men, because I know I've also witnessed some of these Negro males will fight harder for a non will fight harder for a non-black person than they will for a black woman than they will for a non-black. Well, what did I say? They will fight harder for a non-black woman than they will for a black woman. Black woman. So for me to see her, okay, I imagine. I guess he laced her pockets or whatever in her time of desperation and need, and I guess because from my understanding, if I remember the history correctly, it wasn't like Joe was holding you down while you was in jail. It was you got Papoose holding you down. But once again, I digress. So you got Remy Ma making her statement here in response to Little Mo. So Lil Mo comes back and she has a reply for Remy Mammy. And what Lil Mo responds, it was short and sweet. At Remy Ma, who is you to tell me how to feel? Mind your business. See? Mind your business. See, I mean, okay, that's Joe. I guess Joe, Joe, Remy Mama, Remy Mammy, Remy Ma. You know Joe personally, but you not Joe's mouthpiece. I mean, if anybody wanted to come out and need to come out and defend Joe's opinion against how a woman how a woman perceived an attack, well if a woman perceived an attack from Joe, even though she may not be a public figure, I would think that she would know him far better than you, Remy Ma, would be Joe's wife. I would think Joe's wife would have something to say in defense of her man's character. But nevertheless, I mean, that was disappointing to me. But I digress. We go back to Fat Joe where he apologized, and we have a clip. I have a clip. I'm just going to play it. I don't know if we can hear this or not. We'll give it a shot. Let me see if I can play it.
Hold up, Craig. I didn't see nobody come. Y'all seen somebody come out here with me?
Oh, them
I've been either.
You gotta go to the crack house to find them bitches.
Hold up, but let me tell you something, Pat. I heard you say something about.
I'm gonna play it again, man. I'm gonna play it again because I messed it up. Hold on. Come on, what shit? Let me go back, man. Since they ain't gonna let me do it like this. Hurry up. Yeah, cause well, we gonna leave it at that. Y'all, you have opportunity to play it again if you want to play it, whatever. But yeah, the thing about it is that okay, aside from the fact that he was going, he had said these disparaging things about, one must not have any doubt or imagination that he was talking about black women because in more than likely I don't recall Ja Rule doing these songs, or I wouldn't imagine Ja Rule coming in with a posse of many outstanding non-black women. So we can safely assume that, and assume is, what they say about us. We can safely presume that Fat Joe was speaking about whoever was in Ja Rule's company. And Ja Rule, of course, he said, when he came on, he said, I didn't come out on stage to nobody. That they probably saw the entourage that Ja Rule was with, and they know that they saw the huddle or whatever who was going to be out there. But the thing that really kind of get to me is, and I think it's something that I guess I've evolved into thinking, and I've evolved in my thinking, and I can understand the argument that, oh, this is slang, nigga, the term nigga slang. Anybody can be the white boys. They can call each other my nigga, but they don't call. I don't hear too often them calling themselves that in front of. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I don't hear them calling themselves that in front of me, or even I work with with Spanish folks, Hispanic, Mexican folks, or whatever you may say. And when I have a conversation with them, they don't refer to me as "Hey, what's up, my nigga?" Whatever. I admit I overhear them say it, but they say it to each other in reference to each other, and in my mind, I find that humorous because I say to myself, we may use the term nigga, but during a few hundred years ago, we used the nigger term, and those people were a group of people that that were bought to this. Well, some say some were bought here. Well, no, I need to correct myself. The first people that came to this country were Africans. And now, and I need to be clear, not the first people that came to the country, but the first set of intended to be slaves, I guess you could say, that were imported or from Africa. So okay, you got the slaves coming in from Africa, but they are also a school of thought, and this is what I also share, and I believe, considering that every just about every corner of the earth you'll find a melanated person, and that melanated person could, if you line them up to a melanated person from another part of this globe, more than likely they'll have a kinship in features or kinship in color, and if considering all things considering, during the time of slavery, they would be referred to as a nigger. You know, whether those individuals are indigenous Native Americans, or whether that person is a transplanted uh, individual from the continent of Africa. Now, when we say now, to get back to my point, I said when the Africans came over here, and they may have been, but what occurred after they were here after some time. Maybe we'll just go through the first 75 to 100 years. Um, they were either interbred um, with those individuals with those melanated individuals that were here already, or interbred with each other. But nevertheless, after a while, after time passes, and you're being placed in a position where you're being where I guess you're being conditioned, brainwashed to the point where um, you're not necessarily given a name. I guess it would be more, if that ever even occurred, it'd be more like if someone was to name a dog or a chicken or a cow or a goat. But for the most part, our people, by the dominant society, the overseer, the Caucasian, Caucasoid people, our moniker was nigger. So you look at it like this. You have and the transatlantic slave trade lasted for centuries. You could reasonably believe or draw through logic that there was generations of our people that were only recognized as being nigger. That's all they knew who they were, because they weren't providing any education outside of, I guess you could reasonably say, perhaps the Holy Bible, and of course they weren't able to read that. But they had to. The only way they were able to receive the indoctrination of the Christianity in the Bible was either through the slave master or through one of the slave masters' um, house niggers. We'll just call it what it is. So in my development of my evolving of my understanding, because you have a certain people that recoil in extreme disdain even just by hearing the word Nigga, let alone Nigger, because they tied into an emotional thing. I guess it's a word that they claim that the white man made up and put on us. But really, I disagree with that, because even the English language itself is a bastardization of several languages. Um, if you want to go, you want to be specific. In a lot of cases, the ancient, and you got to be careful with the word ancient, because when you look at the big picture, white people haven't necessarily been on the planet, but a blink of the eye in consideration to people of the melanated persuasion. They haven't been around that long, so it's like when you talk about, well, they made up this word to disparage us or whatever. There's actually etymological, which when I say etymology, there's a trade, there's a way that you can trace back the word the word nigga, and also niggar, then this was subsequently niggar, and and what that evidence will lead to is that you could logically and reasonably deduce that no, it was not the white man that made up the word. It was the white man that actually became familiarized with the word, and in their inability to communicate, or inability to enunciate the word, they took a term, and they took an ancient divine epithet and changed it into an epithet which actually turn into the opposite. And I go through all this to say this, because even in the point where you had the NAACP bearing the N word, bearing the word nigger, which I thought was a foolish and most ignorant display, because at the time, and I still say this all the time, anybody who has an issue with me saying nigga, and even with this shirt, um, because the shirt is new, and I bought this from Mr. Charles White, the real CharlesWhite.com, and had the never ignorant getting goals accomplished. But my thing, I never got into the stop saying the word, they make us look bad, the white man made this word for this, that, and the third. No, I never really got into that because, for one thing, nobody's going to tell me what I can say, and for number two, me stopping saying this word is what you want me to stop saying nigga, but by me stopping saying nigga, is it going to end the nigga treatment? And whenever I asked that question back then, I never got it. I never got an answer, no matter from how self righteous that person might have felt for me saying that. How dare you continue to say the word nigga? Blah 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 blah. Who say skippy blah? So my thing is going back to where our ancestors, well, my ancestors, I don't know about you because I can't see you. My ancestors I can trace my ancestors back to chattel slavery. And I can pretty much assure that more than one of them was referred to by Mr. Charlie as a nigger. So when I see some of these new cats, some of these new Negroes, and how they're just going all out and just holding pom poms for Joe, sort of like Remy Mammy talking about. They pretty much said that the Blanco Joe Joey Crack is also a nigga. Now I've seen pictures of this man as a child, before he lost his hair. I've seen pictures of his mother and his father. Now I have no evidence whether Joey had a black abuela, a black granny, a Darcy and granny over in the homeland, but I'll be speculative about that. I would be speculative in regards to making a comment on that. But the point I'm making without having to go around the corner, because I really want to get to the point about it, is that, and this, how they're telling us that certain words that we're no longer able to use because they emotionally trigger people and it could be considered bullying, like retard, or when you say you might be just insulting someone who's not homosexual. You can't say, "Oh, that's gay," or just some things like that. If grounds is given to where certain people who identify with certain people that may be referred by a name, or may refer themselves by a particular name, and they find that name is being utilized in a way that may be perceived either perceivably positive or negatively by someone who does not qualify, or who is not familiar with the struggles or the baggage that comes with being blessed with the title nigga or niggar, which like I said, we us new folks who affectionately or disaffectionately refer to each other as nigga. We can never qualify to even be we can't qualify to be niggers because we have never been through the type of struggle or been through experienced the type of terror and just social and economic, psychological, just any old type of attack on a person that you could have for a sustained duration, and not necessarily just to you, but to your whole family, and it carries on generationally, and even to the point where it's just so affected, even though the remnants of such treatment, such a crime remains with us to this day. So I I'm not really too keen. And I think it's embarrassing to where if where two black people are arguing over whether a Puerto Rican, a blanco, a white pale skin, if he dare chooses to on the census, he could click white Hispanic on the census and qualify for whatever goodies and giveaways that might be exempt for someone who might check African American or something like that on the sheet. Because believe me, it may sound silly, but believe me, there are social and I guess political and economic giveaways for those in certain racial classes in our country. But to not continue on even any longer than the almost 30 minutes I've been on here, past 30 minutes I've been on here, you can let Fat Joe call you nigga. You can hang around Fat Joe and call and let him be yo nigga, you be his nigga, whatever. So be it. Fat Joe can't call back. I don't care how much I like You Got a Flow Joe or the Don Cartagena album or whatever in the fuck. I don't like as much as y'all don't, some people don't like black people use the word nigga, black people to use the word. I don't want nobody that, and really more specifically, I really don't want nobody who doesn't have a shared experience of the nigger people or not descendants whose ancestors are not part of the foundation building of this country on the blood and toil with free labor and you having to give up your baby, have your baby snatched from you and sold off on the auction block. If your class of people is not familiar with that, or if your class, better yet, if your class of people is not tied into that, I don't want to hear you say this word. This word is not for you. This word is not for you to play with. It's not for you to feel down and feel hard, whatever. I don't care if you was brought up wherever the fucking you was brought up. I don't live in the Bronx. I don't live wherever y'all say that he earned his credentials to say this word. I don't live there. I don't associate. I don't relate to, the passes of having people that don't have anything to do with your struggle, and in a lot of cases, in some instances, they work against you being able to use a word that the blood of your ancestors earned. The blood of your ancestors. I don't want to say earned because it was already a word. It was already a history that made the word nigger before the word nigga was made into nigga, and all that ties into people with skin, dark skin. People, period. That's just period. Now I may do another video at another time about the ancient history of the N word, the divine epithet, so to speak. But I almost lost my point. It's not about Joe. Cause like I said, as long as Joe don't come to me and holler, "What up, my nigga, man? Hey, man, hey, man, I love your music. I don't want you to call me that shit, man. And if you don't, if you find you can't, if you can't, you have to, you just can't withstand calling me that. Call me that away from me. Don't talk to me. But my thing wasn't. I don't. Y'all want whatever y'all shucking and jiving niggas want to do. Y'all want to give Joe his pass or whatever y'all say and normalize him saying it or whatever. That's on you. You deal with that. My problem is that is with the way he just cavalierly referred to black women, and these are artists. I mean, they may not be successful artists, at this particular time, but they're still artists that are in the game, and there's still people that has to have some type of reverence, if not just for being women anyway, and women that did not necessarily come out and say anything negative to you. You don't call. And this is difficult too because hey, niggas go all out of pocket. Black males go all out of pocket just disrespecting the sisters already. But and I guess the argument could be made: fix the inside of your house first. But fuck that. Ja Rule, number one. I didn't see the verse. I don't know how Ja Rule reacted to Obese Joseph calling who I guess he didn't like, and he didn't know who he was calling a dusty bitch from the crack house or whatever. I guess he didn't know who he was calling. He claimed he didn't know who he was talking to, but I bet you $100,000 I ain't got it. He wasn't talking about no Puerto Rican women. He wasn't talking about no white women. He wasn't talking about no Asian women. Where you get off, Obese Joseph? Talking about you if you offended. Take it. It was just so hard. It was too hard for you to just say that you did. To feel like to say that you did offend somebody. It has to be about if you offended somebody. But that's you, Joe. That's your life, and I'm nothing but a West Virginia nigga. I'm just a nigga, just a black poor black man in America. I ain't sold no albums, but that don't make you no more superior man than I am or inferior man than I am. I'm not saying not that I'm going to claim inferiority, but I'm sure I have my shortcomings. But Mr. Joseph, Mr. Obese Joseph, Mr. Cartagena, we ain't with all that, man. That ain't what's happening. And so that's my opinion on that. But my directive to my people, what do y'all do all this for? Do you really want to undermine what type of the type of I don't know, I don't want to say self-esteem. Do you really want to undermine your self-pride? Your pride in yourself or pride in people. And mind you that underneath the system of white supremacy, our pride is, minuscule or whatever. But do you really want to put your pride on the line against other black people to defend a non-black person to say the N-word? Oh, it's just everybody does it. Everybody does it. Why you tripping? Y'all should know better. Okay. All right, then. All right, you keep your defense on that, but okay. You gonna would you let Joe call your mama a dusty crack house bitch? Would that work for you? Yeah, I just want to come on and I didn't mean to go this long. It's a fucking 40-minute video, but I guess I got to round it on. But and it's off the cuff. I just felt I need to say something. But y'all take care, man. And I hope that y'all give me some feedback on how y'all feel about it. Peace and love.